So I want to bring you back in here. First of all, just your top line reaction to that.
Bravo, Marjorie Taylor Greene. That was so good, I almost had to smoke a cigarette afterwards. She was policy focused. She was graceful. I think she pointed out the hypocrisy in the media. Most importantly, Harris, we saw that yesterday, Democrats made Marjorie Taylor Greene certainly the most powerful freshman in Congress and possibly one of the most powerful Republicans in Congress. What other freshman could command a press conference like that and get it carried live with the opportunity to share the views and values that emanate from their district? Marjorie is off the proverbial leash right now. I think she's going to be a major communicator, and if she shows the grace and the focus and the attention to policies that matter to everyday Americans like she did in that press conference, she is going to be a very successful Congresswoman.
Congressman Gaetz, at one point she said her job will be now with the free time she'll have because she won't be serving on education labor committees, and she was on the budget panel as well. She said with that free time, she's going to be holding the GOP accountable and pushing them to the right. Is the party going to change, or has it already changed? She said this is still President Trump's party. She said it doesn't belong to anybody else.
I welcome Marjorie Greene's contribution to shaping the contours of our party, just like I would welcome that from any other member of the Republican conference. When Marjorie talks about the America First policies of not invading everywhere and inviting everyone across our borders illegally, that's important within the Republican conference because we do have Republicans that are more establishment that want to revert to the days before President Trump. And without President Trump tweeting every day and sharing kind of a daily message for us to all rally around, I think it is ever the more important that the people who hold those America First views express them. And Marjorie is right. With the action the Democrats took yesterday, she's going to have a whole lot of time on her hands to ensure that she's communicating with the people of our country about what both political parties are doing. And frankly, both political parties need to be held accountable to do the work of our people.
You know, there are some things that I'm trying to hit here that will be headlines. This, I anticipate, will be one. She said going forward, she's been freed from committees. I mean, that is such an interesting way to look at it. You know, Democrats in charge now, the president north of 46, 47 executive actions and orders in his first couple of weeks. She said she doesn't have to be part of all of that dictator-like type stuff. I'm paraphrasing her. What does that mean to you?
In the House of Representatives, Republicans have essentially no power. You know, that's a tough thing to have to admit, but it's true. It's how the House of Representatives works. So our principal job is messaging, laying out a compelling vision for America, and then inviting people to that vision through elections so that hopefully we can regain the majority in 2022. And if Marjorie's going to be out there communicating a vision that draws people in, that will certainly help our cause. So I think that the notion that by serving on a committee, you're able to impact an outcome in the minority in the House of Representatives is a bit of a fiction. I mean, yesterday, I tried to introduce an amendment to the Rules and Judiciary just to say the Pledge of Allegiance. And because I'm a minority member, a Republican, every Democrat voted against it, and we won't say the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of the Judiciary Committee. That's just demonstrative about the control that Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats currently exert over this institution.
You know what? I want to go just a little bit deeper on that, and we'll come back to Representative Greene. House Judiciary Chair Jerry Nadler, just so everybody catches up on what you're talking about, slapped down your request to begin each committee meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Here's what he said.
It's unnecessary. The House begins every day with the Pledge of Allegiance. We're covered by that. There's no necessity to say the Pledge of Allegiance twice during the same day.
It's like
and the Daily Caller, 1 second, Congressman, the Daily Caller exclusively obtained this audio, because I think you'll want to hear this, which Fox News has not independently verified. It appears to show House Democrats making fun of your Pledge of Allegiance request. Let's listen.
I wake up in the morning and I pledge allegiance to the flag. I go outside regardless of the weather where I've got my flag up on my house and I pledge allegiance, and then I get on my knees and I pray. If I do that, am I supposed to do it again? And how many times a day should I do that?
I think you should do it at least every hour.
I remember the first grade, we had something like this.
I remember too. I remember on Fridays at 10 o'clock, we ducked below our desks because of the nuclear bomb.
Right.
Congressman Gaetz, your reaction.
I mean, Harris, you wrote a book about being a military brat and about what patriotism means to the people who have to sacrifice the most. And so it is disheartening to hear my colleagues mocking and making fun of people who want to unify as much as we can and show that unity to the country just by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. It sounds like Jerry Nadler has the, like, I gave at the office approach to patriotism that, well, if you've said it once, that covers you. In these times when our country needs to see that Republicans and Democrats can do something together, that we can come together in some ways, I just thought it would be a nice gesture before debating some admittedly divisive issues. Cori Bush is also on the Judiciary Committee, a new member, and she said that she opposed my amendment to say the Pledge of Allegiance because the pledge was a symbol of white supremacy. Goodness gracious, I just thought it could be something unifying, and you see from either mockery or incendiary comments about race or just an unwillingness to spend an extra 15 seconds recommitting ourselves to the flag, we face Democrat opposition to that effort.
You know, you've been very transparent about where the power lies right now, but this president had promised, Congressman Gaetz, that there would be not just bipartisanship, but there would be unity around certain ideas. Is that happening?
I'm hopeful for it, but I didn't hear Nancy Pelosi make the same commitment. I hope the president listens to Republicans on everything from the coronavirus to foreign policy, but there are different views within the Republican Party. I certainly hope that President Biden doesn't reach for the trade policy of Paul Ryan and the foreign policy of Dick Cheney. I think that there are policies that President Trump was working on that inured to the benefit of the people in our country, and I think President Biden would do well to give some credence to the successes and to the progress that we've made over the last 4 years.
Congressman Matt Gaetz, we came together on a number of issues, but primarily today brought together by Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene and getting to watch her and get your first response. Appreciate your time. Good to see you today. Thank you.
Good to see you, Harris. Thanks.